Willie D Live.
Let me ask you this. You guys show a lot on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Very transparent as far as from what I'm seeing.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of couples who show a lot on social media end up breaking up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does it ever worry you that you're showing too much and giving outsiders maybe some ammunition to attack your union?
Gotcha.
Well, on one of our podcast episodes, we talk about getting to the point where you become comfortable with being perceived as the villain. And the higher you go up in your success in life, there's going to be people who look at you as a saint. There's going to be people who look at you as a sinner or as a villain. So when you're comfortable with either side of that, when you know yourself and when you know all the different versions of yourself, nobody can really tell you anything about you that you can't run across the ticker of, is this truth or is this not? When it's truth, even if it's something negative, we could at least have that conversation from a place of humility and something I may need to incorporate in my life. But 9 times out of 10, as much as we put on social media, it's still barely a % of the life that we actually share. So people may feel like they know us, but to a large degree they don't, and we still respect the perceptions they may project. We've come to see that even in some of those projections, that still causes healing, and it still brings up a mirror for those people and them realizing, why am I projecting this onto this person? And then the other part of it is transparency saved our life.
Yeah.
Like when I was at my rock bottom, like I said, the kidney failure, blind, I got fired from 5 straight jobs. I was done with the streets at that point. I really didn't have nobody to talk to that understood my journey. My parents are beautiful people, but very devout Christian background. So they couldn't really understand what I was going through. And by that point, the bros had flaked out on me. I had a 13-year relationship that had disintegrated. So I didn't have nobody. But I knew I needed to get this out to some degree. And I would post things on Facebook. And the same people that was rocking with me for years when I was posting frivolous stuff, now they coming on telling me, this too much for Facebook. You're not supposed to be posting this. But I had no other outlet. But those same posts started to turn into a reflection to me being able to see what I was putting up, and it started to cast the net out to people who was experiencing the same things, who didn't feel comfortable enough to say it in public. That turned into my platform. That turned into my initial audience. And from that point, that has continued to grow, to fine-tune itself. And now we at a point where a lot of the resources that come into our life are coming based on the transparency. We wouldn't be here with you right now, a legend in hip-hop and just in our culture, without us doing what we got to do via social media and putting out the content that we put out and having people respond to it to the degree that they do. Had we had the conversation and I got 3,000 followers, no disrespect, and she got 5,000 followers, this may not have happened. Those followers came from us not putting up what works, because it's certain formats you could do as a couple that you know is just going to cut through on Instagram. We're not here to do that. Yeah. We're here to really share those aspects of ourselves that we have made a pact with our soul to feel comfortable doing, even when it means people may look at us negatively. I got people in my life right now that still look at me as the villain. All I'm doing is putting out what has helped me heal. And I'm okay with that.
And to a large degree, so you mentioned ammunition, and we don't live our lives in that way. So that is like almost like fear-based. I don't share anything. And the reason that I share the way that I do share is because it's a part of my healing process.
Right.
Now, if a person chooses to use what I share in my vulnerability against me, that's a reflection of them. That has nothing to do with me. I'm very secure in our union.
Right.
And however God chooses to take our union, whether he keeps us together for eternity, whether he decides that tomorrow is the last day, we are both very secure in that, because we understand however God wants it to go, it's going to go. So ammunition is not something that we even pay attention to. But the other aspect of how we show up in our vulnerability has everything to do with, and how he also said, we only show a certain amount, because everything that we experience is a teachable moment. So you have certain people who are in the conscious community, the healing community. They're going to tell you what they want you to know, and it's always going to show them in the best light for the most part. this is also ego driven. If I say that I know that healing is what I'm ordained to do, that means that I don't get to just show people the good parts.
Right.
I also have to show them the parts that I'm struggling with. Also remembering that when I show up in my transparency, it makes other people feel safe enough to do it as well. Because as Black people, how were we raised? Don't say that.
Exactly.
Keep that a secret. You have so many people, and I have a chapter in my book that speaks about how we had so many people in our families who struggled from mental illness, depression, being molested, taken advantage of. Nobody spoke about it. It was kept a secret. And so now you have generations that are growing up with generational trauma, and they have no idea why. No one's speaking about it. It's still a secret in the family. And so now you have people who have multiple personalities, bipolar. They have no idea that ran in their family. I had no idea that my dad tried to commit suicide. That would have gave me a lot of answers when I turned 18 and I went through the deepest depression of my life. But it was kept a secret, and I had to figure it out on my own. And so the intention is to remind people you are not by yourself. No matter how self-realized a person is, they are still a student. And so if I have the ability to share what I've experienced, and this can help you go through whatever you're going through, just reminding you that you're not by yourself, then I'm going to do it, because it doesn't take anything from me. It doesn't embarrass me, the things that we share.
Because we've healed from it for real. Like,
Right. We're really in the process of allowing this to be our healing journey. And it's really like, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. If it resonates with your spirit, great. If it doesn't, this may not be the platform for you. But also, we don't do this because it's like a relationship thing. Even though people do it on social media because it's a relationship thing, he was in his transparency online before he met me. I was deep in my transparency online before I met him. It just happened that Source said, this is a great fit. And
that's part of why.
Yeah, that's part of why. And we just continue to share our transparency. And transparency doesn't make people feel that comfortable because it shows them the places where they are hiding. When you are transparent, you allow people to see you. You take off mask, even if it looks ugly. I got a post on my page where I know I look like I just woke up. I don't even know if I brushed my teeth. But I went through my healing process, and I showed people exactly what it looks like when I process emotion. I'm not hiding. There's no mask. There's no makeup. I had acne all over my face. Nothing looked good about that video. So when you have people who are used to only allowing people to see certain parts of themselves, it does trigger them when people show up in their freedom.